coming back to the United States and having to go into a ghetto in St. Louis after Martin Luther King was assassinated and things were burning and stuff, feeling comfortable in a completely almost alien culture. Or dealing with Eskimos north of the Arctic Circle or Native Americans here in the western part of the United States, that kind of ability, to go work cross-culturally and to work with different kinds of people was something that was very much learned in the Peace Corps. After the Peace Corps experience, you were curious. You had learned, that there was real richness in these different cultures and different belief structures and just the way human beings relate. And instead of being, insecure and defending what your belief structure was or how you grew up, all of a sudden you were curious about learning about other people. Service, national service, Peace Corps volunteers, VISTA volunteers, there is a secret staff. There is some kind of an understanding or an alliance, or at least it opens a door. You can go into a group of professionals you got to deal with, and all of a sudden you find out that Mary Jo or Bill was an ex-Peace Corps volunteer, and they might have been in Colombia or they might have been in Russia. It didn't really make any difference, but you had something in common. And suddenly you could begin to build. And all throughout my career, I've had ex-Peace Corps volunteers, ex-VISTA volunteers who have turned out to be very reliable, have somewhat the same kind of a value structure in a way you can communicate on a different level than just the formal level. I have spent 38 years in national service, starting as a Peace Corps volunteer and then being able to work with VISTA and then the senior volunteer programs and AmeriCorps. And I think that for the very health of our society, that it would be a good thing that everybody was required to spend a year or two, between 18 or 21 years old, maybe out of high school, serving their country. They can be doing ecological things. They can be reading books for the blind. There's a job for everybody. Even people who are limited in some way. There are things that could be done, but I think it would build a healthy sense of national service into the country, and I think it would be very useful to get people to move across some of those barriers, to work with people of different culture, different color, different economic status, different problems. Rural kids to be able to work in an urban area, urban kids to work in a rural area. I think that it would build a healthier country and a healthier society.
One of the first lessons that I got from India was that, there's just a lot of different beliefs people have, a lot of different ways of doing things, and they're valid.
It seems to be both in Habitat and in a number of volunteers who we've met through our two sons who both did volunteer work in the AmeriCorps and Peace Corps. A lot of the young people are just as enthusiastic as we were and really wanting to do good and willing to go and live in far more primitive situations than any of us lived.
I remember when the psychiatrist in Peace Corps training asked me, well, aren't you worried about spending 2 years of your life in India? And I thought, well, I've got a whole lot of life left. So that seemed like a very small part. You know what I mean?
Well, in retrospect, was it a very small part?
In terms of time, it was. In terms of experience, it was a very big part. It was a fabulous part.
For a volunteer, it's almost like being, to use late President Kennedy's words, a new frontier, because here we can actually create something in society.
Maybe just sort of a blind sort of optimism. But I prefer blind optimism to blind pessimism, actually. Yeah. So it really is just kind of a choice I make. Because I know there are good people here. There are good, solid people who can take a problem, work on it, and solve it. And that's what progress is kind of based on, I think.
You have the feeling that every bit of work that you do is for progress. Every bit of work that you do will have a multiple effect. Every bit of work that you do is doing so much good.
Okay. It's lit! It's lit! There'll be a few seconds. 5 feet! 5 feet! I told you 5 feet!